What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Couch Chats. And this evening, we are going virtual for this episode, and we are actually joined by a first timer, fellow Fall Obsession staffer, fellow Michigander, Mr. Brandon Ostrowski. What's up, Brandon? How you doing?
Hey, Todd. Thanks for having me, man. How you doing?
Good. We're doing well here. It's this quote finally came through, and so we're expecting big things to happen here in the next few weeks. So, um, getting to the crunch time, it's getting pretty exciting around here. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, this is what we live for, right?
Yeah,
We live for
yeah,
the cold fronts. Unfortunately, we're not able to hunt during the week, so we need those
right,
cold
right.
fronts to line up on a weekend. But with how hot it's been, the first half of October,
Yeah,
it's been really nice that cold front finally came through and starting to get some better pictures of better deer on camera, which is nice. And
yeah.
obviously, your successful hunt, the last night, I think it was. So
Yep.
congratulations on
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So yeah, so backtracking just a little bit, we're going virtual here just because we're so busy, and so
that.
Brian and I wanted to sit down and talk and have a couch chat, and just our schedules didn't match up, so decided to do it virtual here. We live obviously same state, but a few hours away from each other. So,
Yeah.
so anyway, that's why we're on the virtual. But yeah, like you said, when we talked on Sunday, prior to Sunday or prior to 2 days ago,
Yep.
we were just seeing does and fawns, not a lot of buck action. I mean, I was seeing 30, 40 deer with one buck. The rest were does
Yep.
and fawns.
Yep.
Um, a couple days ago, I took my youngest daughter out. We went out and we saw mostly bucks. We only saw a couple does, and so that was pretty exciting, to see that. Hey, with the cooler pattern, the weather shifting to a cooler pattern, the bucks are on their feet now and they're moving around a lot more. And
Yeah.
I did
Yep.
see I did see. So when I was with my daughter, they were bumping does already. The young ones started bumping the two does that were in the field and pushing them
Yep.
around a little bit, and had a spike out on our side make a scrape. And then last night when I was sitting in my stand across the street, had another little spike come out and make a scrape. And man, he was ready to fight. He looked like, actually, that spike looked like he was all puffed up already. He looked
Oh,
like
no
he was
kidding. Really
yeah,
posturing
he
up
looked
like he's the big bad wolf, huh? That's
yeah,
funny.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
his
No.
neck looked like it was swollen. He was all swollen and ready to roll for the
Yeah,
rut.
it's
So
it's crazy what a cold front will do to their behavior, right?
right.
Just kind of like you, monitoring my cameras, being out over the weekend. I've been starting to see a little bit more aggressiveness when it comes to these smaller bucks.
Yeah,
I think a lot of them for me. I'm set up on food plots, which I have my mock scrapes in, and I
yeah,
have my cameras over my mock scrapes, and every single night, my mock scrapes are getting hit harder and harder.
yeah,
Buck rubs are starting to pop up a little bit more frequently, and then obviously a lot of those little bucks are harassing the does a little bit. So it's definitely starting to increase their behavior, their
yeah,
testosterone. So if we
yeah.
can just stick with the cooler weather, I think the later half of October should be pretty good.
Yeah, I think we should be in good shape. Supposed to be cool. I mean, tomorrow's only supposed to be like a high of 40 here, 49, I should say, 49
Yeah,
here. So
yeah.
it's supposed to rain all day though, so that kind of puts a kibosh on things a little bit. But even
It
today, that
does.
that wind was whipping around, and I was still getting a bunch of deer on my cameras today. So
Same here. Yeah. I think as soon as 5 o'clock hit and the rain kind of subsided a little bit, I think
uh-huh.
that's when pictures started picking up for me. And then as we speak right now, my phone's going off of pictures, so can't wait to kind of check them out and see what we got going on there. But yeah, no, I'm excited for the later half of October now that things are starting to cool down. So
Heat up a little bit.
should be fun.
So a little story for our audience. Took my daughter out a couple days ago, saw a lot of bucks, and we hadn't seen them, as we just talked about, until that day. And then yesterday, had parent teacher conferences, so we were kind of in a hurry. I was kind of in a hurry to get out to my tree stand, and typically I like to be in stand button seat 4:30 at the latest. And parent teacher conferences went till 4:30. So I had to find some place to go quickly. And I have a stand right across the street that it takes me about 5 minutes to get in and get dressed. And I actually started dressing before parent teacher conferences, I put my underlayer on and threw shirt and tie on over it. So it was kind of funny. But got home, ripped that off, threw my hunting clothes on, and got up to the stand. So anyway, but yeah, it ended up paying off. I On Sunday when I took my daughter out, we were sitting there and look at the pictures that came through, and one of the pictures that came through was a nice buck, a nice 8 point across the street at our food plot that we built. Actually, it's our COVID food plot that we built during COVID. We had nothing else to do, so we built a food plot over there and put a stand up and stuff and started hunting. I've actually taken quite a few quality bucks out of there since that time. So anyway, I had a nice 8 point come in. Actually, I was going to shoot a doe just before he came in, but she was a mature doe. She was kind of stuck behind some brush, and she was just
Yeah.
looking right up at me, and I hadn't moved, and I was pretty concealed, and man, she picked me out though. She didn't get
It's just
scared. She just turned and walked off. It's just crazy, you
them
know?
those does sometimes, in my opinion, and I've talked to a lot of other hunters too, that sometimes they can be a little bit smarter than the bucks, right? And
Yeah,
they're
for
the
sure.
bucks will sit back in the timber a little bit and watch those does behavior, and next thing you
Hmm.
know, they kind of alter their route a little bit. So those big does they're hard to fool, right? And then
Right.
it's if you can fool them, then you're doing something right. But yeah, no, they're tough.
And so, yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've been in a stand and not moving, not wind is perfect, everything's
Yeah.
perfect. That mature doe steps out and broop, looks right up at you. you
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy how smart they are.
Well, that and they're
But
also teaching their young too, right? So, like,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if you've noticed this, but there's a lot of times where all the other deer will be feeding, doing what they're supposed to be doing, right? And then you got that
Hmm.
one doe who stops and looks and is looking and looking, and she's bobbing her
Yeah.
head, doing the whole 9 yards. And next
And
thing you
weaving
know,
and
when she starts to go, so does the whole rest of the herd. Well, she's teaching the other deer exactly what's going on, right?
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
crazy, man.
That
They're
natural
smart.
instinct, right? Yeah, you can't compete with that. It's
No,
so
not at
hard. You
all.
can do everything right, do everything perfectly, and still they
Yep.
have that natural instinct, and that's
Yep.
exactly what happened to me with that doe yesterday. And when she turned around and started walking off, all of a sudden I heard footsteps again. I happened to look down, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's the buck that I had on camera the night before, the shooter buck
Yeah.
that I saw. And he came out and stood on the edge of the field. And so he was about 15 yards away or so, right on the edge of the field in front of me, facing totally away from me. And
Yeah.
man, he was a nice looking buck. And so I sat there and waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. It seemed like forever, even though it was probably only
It
a few
u
minutes,
it usually does. Yeah.
Yeah. And he finally was able to. He stepped out in the field, and he was actually quartered away, and put a good shot on him, and I was able to harvest my first buck of the season. So a nice Michigan 8 point, field dressed at 156. So he's pushing 190 pounds live weight. So really nice deer for first buck here in Michigan. So
Yeah, and I'm telling you what, it's the pressure, the monkey gets off your back a little bit. Now you
mhm.
can hunt the rest of the year. If you get something better, great. If not, that pressure's
Mhm.
not on you to try to get one down on the ground.
That's exactly it. When I saw that one on film, I know I have bigger ones over there, bigger than him yet, and but when I saw him on film a couple days ago, I thought, man, if that guy gives me an opportunity, I have to take that, right? Because
Sure.
because again, you get so many pictures of deer on your video, and so many pictures of really good deer, but you may only get one or two pictures in a season, and you may not even see them, right?
Oh,
Um,
sure. Yeah, that happens a lot for me.
for,
I can't tell you how
of
many
course, the flips.
times. Yeah, it's
So sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I can't tell you how many times I've had bucks where I'll get them coming to and from and passing, and then next thing I might not see them for another couple months, or I might not
Hmm.
see them at all based on
Right.
their patterns or movements. So yeah, sometimes if you can get a buck who's daylighting and it seems to be a pretty good buck, by all means get on it and get
Yeah,
on it
take it.
soon
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you kind of gotta react quick.
Right, because here in Michigan, as soon as the guns start firing, all those bucks go
Yeah,
nocturnal, and
I
you don't
know.
see them again until
Yeah.
spring, you know?
Yeah, no, that's when it makes it tough. I love to
Yeah,
hunt. I'll hunt all season long.
yep,
But my bread and butter is during bow season, and
yeah, yeah,
honestly that last week of October up until about the 14th of November, For me, that's my window to try to get some of our mature bucks. That's kind of been, you know, that's kind of been, you know, our pattern throughout the past.
Uh-huh.
It's
Uh-huh.
been that those couple weeks, and anything after that, it just gets harder and harder. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
they don't daylight anymore. Their patterns
Mhm.
switch up, and it's almost impossible to kill a mature buck after that.
You know, my goal every year is to try to fill my buck tags during bow season, simply because, like
Sure.
you said, it's so hard. Like you said, we'll see bucks on opening day of rifle season, but by the third day, you don't see another buck until, like I
Yep.
said, the spring. If you do see a buck,
Yep.
it's a young buck that you don't want to take anyway. You know, you're talking
Right.
as fork horns or spikes or something like that, but something that you want to let go and you actually see on camera in February and say, yes, they survived, right?
Yeah, no, that's honestly, it's almost like Christmas when the hunting season's
Right,
over with. It's like a big relief because you're like, all
right,
right, cool, man. That buck that, I didn't really, he's got good potential. Maybe just a little bit
right.
younger. And once he makes it to that next year, I know, I've talked to you before, and
Hmm.
it's especially, I wouldn't say here, not just here in Michigan, but anywhere, that jump from 2.5 to 3.5 and 3.5 to 4 for these bucks. I mean, they're putting on quite a bit of inches of antlers. So, whenever you can get a nice deer to make it through the gun season that's got good potential, man, I'm all excited for it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a celebration in itself. Also, one of the things I posted on Facebook, Heather mentioned something like this was a chore for the family last night. Because honestly, when we were out there, so after I had shot it, I waited, I don't know, half hour and then got down. I actually came home in the dark and I usually take all my hunting stuff out because I don't like tracking deer in my hunting stuff because you sweat so much and you get it
That's me
all
too. Yeah,
nasty.
no, I'll do the same thing. I have
And I don't want.
honestly, it's funny you say that because I have a pair of tracking clothes that I wear. I obviously wash in
Uh-huh.
my hunting soap and all that stuff, but I
Uh-huh.
will literally come home, hop into my tracking clothes,
Yeah.
and then track my deer in it. And then obviously
Right,
when I
right.
find it, I'll hop back in my camo to take my pictures. But it's funny
That's
that you
that's
say that because I'm the same way.
That's exactly what I do too. In fact, if you look at some of the pictures that I've sent into the group, right, you see
Yeah,
me in my tracking clothes, but then there are some other pictures and
yeah, yeah. I
displaying
noticed.
some of our sponsors,
That's
Hoot Camo, for example. I love Hoot. Oops, there it is right there. I love Hoot. Had Hoot on yesterday. Very, very comfortable gear, and obviously it did the job. It concealed me, even with that doe that busted me, but she couldn't really
yeah,
tell she knew something was up, but she couldn't really tell what. So,
yeah. And
even
I,
a
I
mature
kind
doe
of want
like
to
that, yeah.
I want to fall back on that because if that doe would have busted you,
Yeah,
the chances of shooting that buck probably would have been slim to none, right? So,
absolutely
it's
right.
it's a
Absolutely
great
right.
thing that you were concealed, and
Mhm.
you were able to get the job done. So kudos for you on that one, man. Congratulations. That's an awesome
Yeah,
buck.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, we're tickled pink. We're pretty excited about that because, like I said, it turned into a family fair, and so like for example, Heather found the blood, and then Tala, our oldest, would she would just scan with the flashlight. So the more flashlights we had, it lit up the woods a little bit more, so it's
Yeah,
easier to see. So we kind of were following the blood all together, and then when we field dressed it, everybody had their own job field dressing, and so that was really cool. So it's cool how we've evolved as a family into this. In fact, Tala in her younger days, I mean, she's a little older now. She's a 15-year-old that has a driver's permit and cell phone and all that stuff. She still loves
crazy.
hunting, but
Yeah.
I would say maybe 5 years ago, she would get completely upset if I shot a deer and I didn't let her field dress it. She would get pissed at me.
No kidding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hey,
And so,
that's not, it's so funny because I feel like a lot of people and kids in general are the opposite way. It's like they don't want
right,
anything
right.
to do with that part, right? But that's funny. Good for her.
So when we did field dress it, we took the innards out,
Yep.
and Tala was
Yep.
going through it. She's like, "There's the stomach, here's the nerves, right here's the liver," and she's just going
Yep.
through it. And here, when I field dress, I always have latex gloves on or some kind of glove on just to protect myself from if I
Yep.
cut myself on a rib or something on the inside. That's still, you know
Your
what I mean?
broadhead gets stuck in the opposite shoulder. That's happened to me several times, right?
Broadhead, or
Trying to, yeah, or your piece of your arrow snaps off inside. Yeah, no, I
yeah,
don't blame you.
yeah. And nick a stomach or something like that, and you get all
Right.
that nastiness inside. But
Yep.
at any rate, but she was just digging through, like, look at that, there's the heart right here. Yeah, why don't you have blood? And her hands are just full of blood, so that was kind of
That's
funny.
that's
Like,
funny.
You crazy kid. But yeah, we have mentioned. Oh, one thing I've talked about in the past too is like I'm a diehard mechanical broadhead fan. You know, I've used Rage
That's
over the
me.
years.
Yeah.
I've used Slick Trick just because I've had a lot of success with them. And Sam convinced me to try a new broadhead from
Okay.
Vantage Point Archery VPA,
Yep.
and it's a 3 blade 100 grain broadhead. It's a fixed blade, and that's what I used yesterday. Man, I think I think I found a new broadhead.
It's
that
kind of
thing that thing did the job, and it's still razor sharp. It's still razor sharp. I almost got a complete pass through. And
yep.
I was looking at it today. I'm like, should I sharpen this? I'm looking at it, and I did the hair test thing. You know what I mean? If it shaves the hair, I'm like,
Still shaving
man,
hair,
that thing.
huh?
Yep, still
Yeah,
shaving hair.
that's crazy.
And like I said, razor sharp. And I was looking on the edges to see if they're nicked, because sometimes in the mechanical you get little dents and
Yeah, a little.
little nicks in it, and
Yep.
nothing
Yep.
at
A little.
all. So
Man.
very sturdy broadhead, did the job, great blood trail. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I think I might be switching my broadhead here.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've talked about this in the past too, but you're a former baseball player, as am
Yep,
I,
yep,
and I don't.
yep.
I'm sure a lot of baseball players can relate to this. We're superstitious people, right?
Oh
So
yeah,
once we
oh
find
yeah.
something that we like, and when we have a
Right.
routine, we
Yep.
we don't tend to shy away from staying on that same routine. So,
Right.
I'm kind of the same way, man. I mean, for me, I'm a mechanical guy. I've always been a mechanical guy.
Uh-huh.
Even at a 25-inch draw, 65 pounds, I'm not the biggest guy in the world, right? So,
Right.
a lot of people are like, "Oh man, go to a fixed blade, go to a fixed blade." But I've had no issues with the mechanical broadheads that I shoot, and I shoot a
Hmm.
Sever broadhead. And ever since Sever has come out, I've fallen in love with them, man. I really have. They got that bone evading technology in it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Great broadhead for me. So, yeah, it's one of those things where sometimes I'm afraid to switch and try new things because of
Yeah.
that superstition.
Superstition, right? Yeah.
But
You know,
I'm
as
glad that
baseball.
you got something that's working good for you. And once you can get a deer down on the ground and kind of see what the broadhead does up
Yeah.
close and personal,
Yeah.
that kind of sways your opinion big time too.
For sure, because you're always kind of nervous, like you said, when you switch things. It's like, oh boy, how's it
Yeah,
going to affect the flight of my arrow? Is my arrow going to
that's
drop
the
more?
number
Is it going
one
to go
thing.
high because it's too
Yeah,
light? Is it going to? You have all these questions in your head. Are you going to get a good blood trail? Are you going to get good penetration? So on and so forth. And for
yep,
me, it passed all the tests. It passed
awesome.
all the tests. I have been working for years now to get an arrow, a complete pass through with an arrow,
Yep,
and last night was the closest I've gotten in years. Just with the same arrows I've been using for that time frame, And the only
yeah.
difference was I used that three blade broadhead from VPA, from Vantage Point Archery. So, really impressed with it, and so I love it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I might have
back.
to.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I might have to just check it out just to see what they're all about.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
If anything, I'd love to learn. I'm not one of those guys where it's like, oh man, you must shoot mechanical, or oh man, you must shoot fixed.
Hmm.
I kind of listen to them all. I love to research and see what these new companies can do, and so I might just
Right.
have to do some research on it myself, and I'll actually and actually
Yeah,
see
exactly.
what happens.
So when I first started hunting, I used to use muzzies, the fixed blade muzzies.
Yeah,
Yeah, bad to the bone,
yep,
just because it was like, I like the song.
right,
Kind of like
right,
when kind
right.
of like when you ask the girls about the March Madness bracket. Well, who's got the
Right.
better looking uniform? Or guys, sometimes who's got the better nickname? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
I
that's
like the
funny.
song, so I'm gonna go with Muzzy.
That's funny.
But anyway, what I realized with Muzzy, and maybe just because I didn't know enough about archery in my younger years, that I think
Yeah.
the weight was probably too heavy for my arrow. Because what I found was it didn't hit exactly where I wanted to. It was always hitting low, always hitting low. And
Yeah.
then Rage came out shortly after I started hunting. I'm like, let's try this thing and see what happens. And I remember using it, shooting a deer the first time, like, holy cow! Look at this look at this blood trail. It's a massive blood trail. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
then when you find the deer, just the wound where the entrance wound, it was just huge. So I completely fell in love with Rage at that time, and have used them pretty exclusively since that time. So until
Yeah.
now that I use this three blade, and worked well. I really like how it performed, and I'm definitely gonna stick with them
Yeah.
for now, and we'll see what happens in the future, and see if it continues to perform throughout my hunting season here. So,
Yeah, no, I mean, like again, the good thing about the mechanicals is
yep,
they do leave a pretty nice blood trail. I
yep,
know on a deer that I shot last year, I ended up sending the picture into Sever. I could not believe it. It literally looked like, it was like a 2 inch cut all the way around.
really.
I didn't get a full pass through, but I'm not kidding you. Like the entrance wound on this thing was unbelievable, and
Oh, really?
uh, deer didn't go very far at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so no, man, and especially if you have a marginal shot, of course we don't want
Yeah.
to make those marginal shots. We
No, no,
never
no, no.
strive to do that at all.
But they
But
do happen. Yeah.
it does, it hits a branch or whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've had friends who made marginal shots using a mechanical, and deer doesn't go no more than 100, 120 yards. But
Yeah.
sometimes they can save you, and sometimes they can hurt you. But it's all about that
Yeah.
shot placement first and foremost.
So I actually did go away from, now that I think about it, when my first daughter was born.
Hmm.
She was born October 5th, and obviously we were at the hospital when she was born. We came home 3 days later. When we got home, I had the next 2 weeks off from work
Yep.
for leave, and Heather goes, "Why don't you go out hunting? I know you want to go hunting. Go out hunting." I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Um,
So I go out there, and I had, I don't even remember what kind of, it was a different type of mechanical. I don't even remember what it was. It was just one of those things that I'm like, let's try a new mechanical and see what happens. And I had a
yep.
6 point, nice little 6 point come out. Because back in the early days, that was kind of back in the early days, I knew I had to get experience. So if anything presented itself, I had to take that opportunity. Right. And so
Yep.
I shot a lot of
Absolutely.
four, I shot a lot of 4 points, a lot of 6 points, a lot of spikes, that sort of thing in my early years. And this 6 point came out, and a new stand I set up just before I went to the hospital, probably the
Hmm.
week before I went to the hospital before she was born. And 6 point came out, broadside, boom, smoked him. And blood trail was really, really sparse. I mean, it was like drops here, drops here, drops here, drops here. I'm like,
Right.
are you kidding me? What is going on? I
Did
smoked him.
not did it not open up? Did not deploy?
Right, right, right. It didn't
Yeah.
open up. So
Wow.
the bottom line is it didn't open up. So what
Wow.
happened was I called Heather. I'm like, Heather, I need your help after she just got out of the hospital, just had a baby. And actually, and
Asking a lot out of her at that point.
yeah, exactly. And actually, the last time I went out there before, so my last hunt in that stand, so I hunted once before we actually had Tala. I had a bobcat right underneath
Oh,
me.
no kidding.
Yeah, I had a bobcat. We actually have quite a few bobcats on my property, but they're illegal
We
to shoot
we got them
shoot
up there in
down.
our Big Rapids property. And same with the bear, but we get quite
Yep.
a few of them every single year.
Yeah. And so we had a bobcat here, and I go to Heather, hey, I need help tracking this thing after she's right out of the hospital. And and actually when we started tracking, I just hung my bow. Well, I sat at the base of the tree we're in, and we were tracking this thing forever, tracking it forever. And finally she's like, I am sore. I need to get back into the house. Her mom
Yeah.
was watching the baby at that time, and I go, yeah, go ahead. I'll look for a little more. But can you go right back and get my bow? She's like, no. She's like, are you kidding me? She's like, I just had a baby and there's a bobcat running around here. I'm like, well, that's true.
That's
So
funny.
we actually ended up going back together, and then the next day I put a marker down. I think I had a hat or something. I put where I
Yeah,
saw last blood, and
yep.
then I just went out there and I ended up having tracking it down the road quite a ways. I'm like,
No
oh my
kidding.
gosh. So when I field dressed it,
Yep.
I looked, the arrow was still in it. It never, like you said, never deployed. So it was like a pencil hole. So it was about the size of a pencil. Went through, I double lunged it, but it was just like the
Yeah.
size of a pencil, just a little, and never
That's
opened up.
nuts.
Yeah. And so that was the last time I used a mechanical other than rage at that point.
Yeah, no, I don't
So
blame you on that one because we practice, we spend too much, time and money, on our
yep,
equipment. So when it doesn't work, man, it's pretty frustrating for sure.
very
You know,
very frustrating. Yeah.
especially if it's a buck of a lifetime, right? Like we prepare
Right.
all year for this, and to have that, not to say like that buck wasn't a trophy at the time, but could you imagine,
Right.
man, if that was like biggest buck you ever shot in your life and something were to fail on it, right? Like that would
Right.
be awesome. and then we owe it to
Right.
the animal, right, to take it down
Oh, oh,
as
as
quickly
quickly
and
as
as painless.
possible.
Right. So
Ethically, yeah.
that does suck, man.
Yeah, and so that yeah, it was something I look at myself and say, "Man, I just blew that shot." No, I put a really good shot on it, but like you said, it was just a mechanical failure, and so,
Yeah.
like you said, hopefully it didn't live who knows, but you try to do the best you can,
I
and
mean,
that's all I could say. I looked at it
at
and say,
that
"I did
point,
the best I could."
yeah, I was gonna say at that point you can sleep at night knowing that you did your part, right? It was a
Right,
failure
right,
on something else. So
right, right.
maybe not make make it any better, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I did my part, had my equipment done what it was supposed to do, what it's made to do. It wouldn't have made it
Yeah,
all too.
exactly.
So,
Yep, exactly, exactly. So
but I mean, I
so
guess,
so one thing that
oh, go ahead.
what's that? So
I was gonna say just,
one thing that you had mentioned was that
yeah,
it could be a trophy, but man, my philosophy, and you and I talked the other day about how it doesn't matter how big a deer is, whether buck, doe,
yeah,
whatever.
yep,
Doesn't matter the species. If it's yours and that's something that you want to take, that's your trophy, right?
absolutely.
I mean,
No,
that's
and
what
that,
I mean. I just
and
dropped
like
mine
again,
off at the shop today. Yeah, I dropped mine off at the
oh,
shop today. It's
are
fun.
you gonna do are you gonna do a shoulder mount on that, or you're just gonna get it
Yeah.
European?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a euro on it. Just do a euro
Okay,
on it. Yep. So it's funny. I dropped my deer off after I got home from school today, and to the butcher I always bring it to. Um, I don't know. I could have did it myself, but I just didn't feel like doing it. I just brought it down to them, save some
sure.
time, right?
Yep.
Because I do have some other projects I got to get to that I'm hoping to get to tomorrow. But anyway, so I bring it down there and like, hey, do you want any specialties out of this? Just your hot shots that you usually get. I'm like, no, no. They're like, "Oh, that's right, it's not a doe." I'm like, "Yep." I'm like, "Gosh, you remember."
Yeah.
So, yeah, I brought a few deer down to them, but yeah, usually I'll get a doe and just either just take it down and say, "Hey, turn it into snack sticks." The whole deer, turn it into snack sticks.
Yeah. Yep.
Or I'll just go in and peel the meat, and then we'll bag it and freeze it, and then
Yep.
when we, later on in the year, when we run out of snack sticks, we'll take the meat down and just take the meat and have them turn that into snack
Yep.
sticks, so but yeah, that was kind of funny. Do you want this? You want this? No, it's not a doe. Oh, that's right. You
That's
like
fun.
does.
Yeah,
So
no,
did you were talk?
that's the nice thing about having a processor right down the road from you, right? I know at my parents
Yeah,
it's the same way.
yeah,
They're like less than 7 miles from the nearest processor there. They do a
yeah.
great job over there, Drone Country Market. Not sure if you've heard of them or
Uh-huh.
not, but
Mm-mm.
they usually take really good care of our deer and our animals and whatnot. But yeah, no,
Sure.
you can't beat the hunter sausage sticks and the jerky and
No,
the whole
not at
nine
all.
yards.
Don't. And then so they were talking about it. I'm like, man, I haven't had some because we get like 1 pound bags. And so what
Yeah.
I'll do is I'll thaw them out and I'll just take them into work and that's lunch.
Yeah, no, I do the same thing. Yeah, no, and it's funny that you mentioned that because I work obviously for my dad's business, and so my
Yeah.
dad brought in some of ours that we had from last year, and I think within 35-40 minutes the whole office was having nothing but the venison sticks and the jerky, and it was
Yeah.
gone within I would say an hour and a half. Everybody's just snacking on it. So it is, man, it's good, it's delicious.
Uh, yeah, and very, very healthy, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that's I'm trying to get other people to realize that, like venison and wild game meat is some of the healthiest meats that you guys can
Oh,
eat, right?
easily.
It's
Easily. And we rarely buy beef anymore. It's all
That's
venison. That's
awesome.
all we
Yeah.
do.
Yep.
Unless we're gonna cook something where we have to like hamburger patties, for example. It's
Right.
really, really hard to make a hamburger patty out of venison because it does dry out when you cook it and it just
Yeah.
crumbles. But man,
Yep.
we use it for everything. Tacos,
Yep.
chili,
Yep.
anything, everything. We do the steak bites. They're so good in the air fryer. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Man, Heather like puts all kinds of butter on it and pepper, then puts it in the air fryer. It's so tender, and that butter just soaks right into it. So
That's what I
good.
love the most. Put a back strap on a skillet with some butter, man, and
Yep.
it fries up really well. Actually, what a recipe that I've been cooking, not you know pretty recently, actually, my
Uh-huh.
girlfriend's been having some with me, and she's not one who's really into wild meat, but
Yeah.
um, I tell you, it's a venison backstrap. I'll slice it into thin straps. I'll put some queso in with it and some rice,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and kind of mix it all together and put it in tortilla, and it has been awesome.
Right.
I made some of that. Her brother had some, his girlfriend had some. And it was like one of the first times that they've had venison, and so that's a
Right.
lot of pressure on me, right, to make it
Right.
to where
Right.
they, where they would like it. And they were astonished that it was venison, right? They're like, if you wouldn't have told me, I would have never
Oh,
known.
yeah.
And so it's funny because ever since then, I've been making quite a few more recipes for them, and it's cool to watch other people, enjoy, the success
What
and
what
love
we
of it.
enjoy, right? Right.
Oh
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Have have you ever eaten deer heart?
No, I haven't, which is
I haven't
crazy
either.
because
Yeah.
I've never had it, but it's something to where I would do it.
Right.
I just
Right.
need to have someone who knows what they're doing first.
So I've been told all you do is just fillet it, just chunk it, chunk it up and like
Yep.
throw it in the air fryer. I've never
Nope.
never tried it, but I've had a lot of people trying to convince me to try it, and I'm like, I don't know.
I'm that same way. I'm not say I guess I probably should, right?
Yeah,
Like I
just to
probably
try it,
should.
right? Yeah,
Right,
just
right. But no, I haven't. I've considered it. It's crossed my
right.
mind, but nope, never done it.
So just like usually I don't. So when we get our deer processed, we usually don't even get roasts because we had bad
Hmm.
experiences in the past with the roast where it tastes really, really
Really?
gamey because
Yeah.
lots of blood, blood flow through the neck and
Right.
it could be too because the bucks lots of different
Oh, the
testosterone and
testosterone. Yeah.
yeah, all that stuff going through their neck during that time of year and
Yeah.
in their muscles in general. But yeah, I shot a deer down in Tennessee one year and told them to put it in a roast just because I
Hmm.
wanted to try it again because and Heather cooked that and man, it tasted just like beef roast. But for
Yeah.
some reason here, the last few times we've gotten roast, it's just really, really gamey. We ended up
Mhm.
feeding it to our animals. So the
That's
roast
crazy.
anyway.
I
I usually don't even get roast, but
I'm a big roast guy. I love them.
gotcha.
I haven't had a bad experiences with any of mine,
Mhm.
and I'm not sure if it's just based on processor or what. But fortunately
Right,
for
right.
me, I haven't had that experience. Thank goodness, because I love the roasts.
Gotcha.
Obviously, I love the back straps too. Those are my favorite. But there's
Right.
nothing better than having like a little deer roast in the crock pot and
Uh-huh.
carrots, potatoes, and yeah, I
All
haven't
the
had
fixings, right?
issues. Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Yep.
So, dude, you had mentioned to me earlier about some of the struggles you've dealt with,
Yeah,
and you talked about EHD prior to us recording. So,
yeah,
what's going on with that? As I mentioned to the people out there, Brandon is actually closer to the Indiana border than I am,
yep,
and I know Michael Teepee is really close to the border. I mean, he's only just a few miles away from the border,
yeah,
and he's talked about over the years the struggles with EHD, not only in Michigan but in his property in Indiana as well. You
yep.
talked about you were dealing with it quite a bit this year as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've just been talking to fellow hunters, other people on hunting
Mm-hmm.
pages, forums, and so pretty much my neck of the woods is Jackson County, Hillsdale County, Lenawee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a little triangle there where all three counties kind of meet together.
Yeah.
DNR did come out with a post that said that it has been confirmed in the Jackson County. My deer numbers I feel like have declined quite a bit. I'm not seeing them
Mm-hmm.
on my property per se.
Right.
I'm hunting 20 acres, but I'm hunting a bunch of ag. So I
Yeah.
know that my decrease in mature bucks has me concerned, especially because this time of year it's not uncommon for me to have 5, 6, 7 bucks in the 120s, 130s, 140s,
Yeah.
3 years and older. And this
Right.
year, man, I'm struggling to get a mature buck on camera. And in
Hmm.
fact, one of my buddies shot a buck last week. And he ended up getting a dog, try to help him find his deer. And while they were tracking, they ended up finding 2 or 3 deer dead on a
Oh,
small property to EHD.
right.
And you know, just down the road from us in Lenawee County, I saw on a forum that somebody had 80 acres, and on those
Okay.
80 acres, I want to say it was, you know, 15 to 20 plus dead deer on that 80
Oh my
acres.
gosh.
So
That's that's
um,
that's too many.
it's got me concerned, right? But
Right, right.
I wish there was something that we can do, because I know fellow hunters all over, you know, Ohio, Iowa, all
Indiana.
other
Yep,
states,
Michigan.
Indiana, right? I
Mhm.
know, I know they're going through it, and it sucks, right?
It's funny too 'cause you see pictures and you hear these stories, and they always seem to be the biggest deer. They always seem to be
Yeah,
like a trophy animal there. And I don't know if it's because people that are walking through the woods, "Oh, look at the size of that one," and snap off a picture. I'm sure they
sure,
find other
sure.
smaller ones, and I know that the EHD isn't exclusive to big bucks only, but
Yeah,
it's funny how the published ones are always the trophy bucks that are dead.
yeah,
But
yeah.
you know, there are a lot more out there, and it's just man, it's so disheartening because yeah, it has a huge impact on what
It
we
does.
do as conservationists in itself. You
Well,
know, it sucks to have them die of a disease like that
well,
versus
it's
us helping. Yeah.
and here
So.
in Michigan, you know this just as well as I do, right? Like,
Mhm.
you know, we're fortunate to have a 2 buck rule, but at the same time, we
Yep.
don't have the deer and the mature bucks that Ohio does, Indiana,
Right.
Illinois,
Right. Right.
Iowa, Kansas, you know, the list goes on, right?
Sure.
So for us, it's really disheartening because, you know, we're trying to get to those levels that those states are at. We're
Yep.
trying to get to the levels where, you know, we're shooting Boone and Crockett deer every year. Are they
Mhm.
here in Michigan? Yes, for sure, but
Yep.
more
Yep.
prevalent in other states than here in Michigan. So it really does suck for us.
Mhm.
You know, I'm hoping that DNR or you know, us hunters can figure out something on if there is
Right.
even if we can even do anything about it. But it's a nasty little
It's tough.
disease.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. We had it here years ago. We had it here one time. We haven't dealt with it since, but it was funny. It went through our area and we heard reports about there's so many. We live just up the road from the Grand River here as well. And
Yep.
so many reports of over 130 deer dead between here and the next street over type of thing along the Grand River.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy. But we didn't see any impact the year that we had the reports. The
Mhm.
following year, that's when we saw a huge impact. Like I went
Yeah.
out opening day, October 1st. I had like 4 or 5 deer show up, and I'm thinking, man, this is gonna be a great year. This is a great sit. It's gonna be an awesome year. I didn't
Yep.
see another deer until like another deer. I didn't see anything until middle December during muzzleloading season.
Yeah, that's
And I was able to harvest a doe the next year I saw a doe, and that was actually I got so frustrated. I got down early out of my stand just because I
mhm.
knew I had sat for those months, those
Didn't see
weeks,
nothing.
didn't see a thing. So I got down early thinking, okay, it's cold. I'm gonna go up, not gonna see anything anyway. And I had a doe jump out in front of me as I was walking across the field. So I
Yeah.
took a shot at her and was fortunate enough to harvest her. So it was the
Yeah.
only deer I harvested that year. So uh
That's no fun, man. I can tell you that.
yeah.
Especially because, like, for me, I'm sure it is for you and other fellow hunters. You know, this is
uh
like our Christmas. I relate to that all the time.
Yeah.
It's like for me, this is like Christmas. You know, and I
Yeah.
love being out in the woods. You know, but man, when you're used to seeing a certain caliber of deer and bucks, and next thing you know, you're
Yeah.
not seeing them,
Yeah.
and you know now you're getting EHD around your counties. It certainly
It's
makes you
crazy.
wonder what's going on.
So that was the only time I knew of in our area here around our house that we had EHD. And the
Yeah.
craziest part was within a couple years. I mean, the year after that experience I had, so this is after, this is so now 2 years
Mhm.
after it was reported we had EHD, our
Yep.
numbers were already starting to get back up. I was seeing 15 to 20 deer a sit. And now, so like I said, this year, so it's been a number of years, but this year I'll go out and I'll see easily 20 to between 20 and 30 deer, and so and sometimes, like when they first cut the corn down, I was seeing about 50 deer a sit. And
Oh,
so
I bet. I believe it. I
yeah.
believe it. I think, you know, could be part of the reason too, right? You know, I got a
Hmm.
bunch of ag around me, so I know I got corn too, but again, it is concerning when I'm used to seeing a certain number of deer, and it's just I'm hunting trying to find them, and they're not there. So I'm hoping that it's not as bad as it sounds, but not looking good for Jackson County and the surrounding counties
Right.
around me. So
Well, and that's why they call it hunting and not you know what I mean?
oh yeah, for
You actually
sure.
work. When we're
Yeah,
out there, we actually have to do a lot of work. Some
yeah. I
people
mean,
think that you just grab your weapon and go out there and you sit
yeah,
for 5 minutes and you've harvested and filled a tag. And that's not
yeah.
how it works at all.
No, if it
It's a
was
year.
if it was like that, everybody would do it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know.
It's a year round hobby, and we're planting food plots in the off season. We're moving stands, we're putting cameras, we're changing batteries, we're target practicing, we're making adjustments to our equipment, all that type
Mhm.
of stuff. And
You
so
know,
yeah,
I'm glad
so
that you mentioned that because one thing I love to do is to teach, and I
mhm,
love to teach my passion, which is the outdoors,
right,
and hunting and fishing and planting food plots and not just hunting and killing the deer that I'm growing on our properties, but
yeah,
um,
yeah.
we us hunters genuinely care about the animals that we hunt, right? Like
Oh, for sure,
most of
for
us aren't
sure.
over killing deer. Most of us are, if you have your own private property, you're trying to practice good quality deer management programs. So
Hmm.
I love to be able to teach people who don't know what we do and how in depth we get with it. They're blown away that we would spend all this time, all this money for an opportunity for
Yeah,
something that may never happen, right? But it's
right,
I try
right,
to I try to tell them it's about the overall health of your deer herd, right? Like we care about our
right,
deer
right.
and we want to have the healthiest deer herd as possible. So
Oh, it's possible,
it's
and so
it's my favorite thing to do is be able to teach people, why I love this passion so much.
yeah, me too. And it's like you said, we were both collegiate baseball players, and we love that competition, right? And so
Yeah, yeah,
that's all part of the competition, preparing for the competition, right?
yeah. Oh,
Prepping and doing and practicing and doing that was all part of the process. And it's just
absolutely.
I love it so much. And so you had talked about managing your herd, and I remember when I was a young hunter, as I mentioned already, if
Yep.
a spike walked out, that was a trophy, because that
Yeah.
at that time of my life, that was my
Yep.
trophy. First deer I
Yep.
ever shot was a little 4 point, and I got that sucker mounted on my wall. You know what I mean? I got a shoulder mount
Yeah.
and
No.
spent the money to get a shoulder mount on a 4 point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I listen, I'm not gonna shy away from that either. I mentioned this to you before. I grew up hunting
Hmm.
public properties my whole life. It
Yep.
wasn't until I was probably about 18 years old, 19 years old, until I was able to hunt private property.
Hmm.
And a little backstory on kind of on my hunting career as I've gotten older is, my dad's been taking me out with him since I was 3 years old, and since
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
that day, I've never looked back. And him and he's been my hunting buddy from the time that I've been three. I'm 32 now, so
Yeah. Yeah.
we still hunt together. And
Hmm.
we've had some rough seasons, and when we used to hunt public properties, and yeah, no, if I seen a 4 pointer, a small 6 pointer, I was shooting that. And to touch
Yeah.
on your story,
Yeah.
one of my first bucks with a bow, first bucks in general was on public property, and it's a small little 6 point. And I ended up getting that thing shoulder mounted. I still have that deer. Still proud of that deer, right? Because it's a
Right.
stepping
Right.
stone to where I'm at now.
Mhm.
We're fortunate to be able to have public or private property and to
Mhm.
manage the deer and our deer herd and whatnot. But for those who are hunting public properties, I grew up doing it, so I know how hard it is. I know how challenging it could be.
Right.
So and again, it's something that I won't take for granted. I think it's made me a better hunter
Oh,
growing up.
for sure, for sure. And I've told my oldest daughter, who's really starting to get into it a little bit more, that if you see a deer that you like, take it.
Hmm.
I don't care how big it is. I don't care how young it is. Take
Yeah,
it, because that's that practice. For
yeah,
me, my experience was I took those, and at some point I thought, this is practice, because eventually that buck of a lifetime is going to step out, and I want it to be flawless when that happens. I don't want to have
yeah,
to think. I don't want to have to get nervous. Of
yep.
course, your heart, you feel the adrenaline,
Oh
but how are you
yeah,
going to manage that adrenaline that you feel so much? You know what I
yeah.
mean? And
Yep.
through the evolution of the process and through your years of experience, you learn how all those
Mhm.
on how to handle all that stuff. And then
You do.
also, here, like I said, we started managing our property a lot more within the last, I would say, I don't know, between 5 and 10 years. In that we made a rule that anything smaller than an 8 point, we weren't going to shoot. Right.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then Heather and I, anyway, the girls and even Heather, sometimes if there's a good 6 point or even a 4 point, that 4 point I saw last night, I told her, man, she could have shot that one. And she goes, I'm not going to shoot a 4 point. But this thing was, it was pretty nice, but I'm not going to shoot a 4 point. But I
Yep.
left it for the
Yep.
girls. But at any rate, the management process, man, over the past 3 years or so, we're getting some really, really nice bucks. Like I said, the one I shot last
Mhm.
night, I didn't even have on film at all, on video at all, until the night before.
Yeah, I know
And
that's
then I
crazy.
and then I chose to sit in that stand because I needed to get into stand quickly.
Yeah.
He was there the night before. I didn't know if I was going to see him again, but he happened to come right back through that field again and gave me a shot and opportunity. So it's so exciting when you start, putting game plans like that together and start managing your property, and it actually works out in your favor. Very much like
It,
that food plot that we built during COVID.
yep.
We needed something to do because everybody was
Oh,
locked up.
sure.
So we were like, let's go build a food plot over here, and we put stands
Yep.
up and stuff like that. And then that fall, I ended up harvesting a really, really nice 8 point out of that field as well. And like,
Yeah.
man, that came to fruition, and it was just so exciting, and you just felt so proud of your accomplishments, and it kind of
Oh,
makes
right.
those
Yeah. No.
moments a little more enjoyable. You know what I mean? As opposed to you just
Yeah.
you
And
harvest and
yeah, and one thing I truly enjoy is getting the family out there.
hmm
I love getting my niece and my nephew. My nephew's getting into it now. He's 6, and he kind of reminds me of
oh
me as a kid, where he was just completely involved in anything hunting and fishing, right? And it's kind of
right
cool to see, him starting to develop that passion that my dad and I have. And so, it's for us, it's about getting family involved,
right right
introducing them to the outdoors, showing them, how the things that we have learned along the way, because I know, like you, at
yeah
least for me, it's been trial and error. I've been doing food plots now for 10 years. And,
mhm.
when we first got our first piece of private property, our food plot didn't look like a food plot. I had to do a lot of
Yeah, yeah,
research
yeah.
along with my dad and I, a lot of trial and error to figure out, how to successfully grow and
Mhm.
manage food plots. And now it's to the point to where, we can pretty much hop out on any property, do a soil test, figure it all out, and have something grow, immediately. So, the evolution of evolving into, this property management manager and deer hunter, man, it's exciting, right? Like,
Oh, absolutely, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, and so my thought with this food plot I was sitting up, well, I had a couple thoughts. Number 1, I
mm-hmm.
thought about plowing it up and replanting it because, again, it hasn't been planted since COVID, but if you look, I mean, so there's a lot of, other vegetation in there, weeds and stuff,
Yeah.
but if you look, the alfalfa that we planted is still growing on the bottom, and so that's what they're eating. They're digging through all this
Oh, to get down to
overgrowth,
that
getting
alfalfa.
down to the alfalfa. And so and they're still hitting that field. So my thought was, man, what if I plowed it up and planted soybeans or sugar beets? Sugar beets are big around here. I planted one out back here one year, and man, they
Yeah, they hit
tore
them
up
hard.
those sugar beets.
Yeah.
In fact, they were in January, December, January. They were pawing at the ground. And I had all these sugar beets that looked like green carrots that they were digging up out of the ground and
Yeah.
eating them. And
Yep.
and so anyway, I thought about doing that. Or after last night, I'm like, oh, should I even mess with this field?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You
Because
know,
it's produced. So
Yeah, no, that goes back to, that superstition for me. I'm a very much so don't fix what ain't broken type of thing. Although I
right,
do like to
right.
try new things, and obviously, as a hunter, we're always thinking of the next best thing.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh, what if I
Uh-huh.
do this? Will this happen? Will that happen? What
Mhm.
you're constantly weighing out, the positive and negative for anything that you do. So, You
Right.
know, I've been there where I went to plant a brassica field one year and just completely failed on me. And
Right.
so
Right.
then I was like, okay, you know, that's something I'm gonna have to learn how to do. I'm gonna go back to what I know how to do. This was way back when I
Hmm.
first started doing food plots, and you know, each food plot is different. The way that you
Hmm.
plant it is different.
Yep. Yep.
Different seasons, you know. So you know, that all of it is just it's crazy. It's a science, really.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And so, you become a farmer real quick, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no doubt. Yep.
So, so, so we are into Michigan versus Michigan State week. I mean, you and I are
We
huge
are.
Michigan fans, right?
Yep.
Huge Michigan fans.
Yep.
I know that that disappoints Michael TP and Isaac a little bit because they like to wear red, but which is
Yeah.
banned in my household right now. So,
Yeah. I don't wear anything red at all. If I do, it goes into the garbage. It's nothing. That's one
I
color
wear
I don't like.
I wear
And
it on
which
my
is
shoulder
crazy.
when it's in the garbage bag.
You want to know something funny though, Todd, is where I work is I work down in the Temperance Toledo area, and
Oh
so
yeah, yep.
you know, the Ohio boys love to give me some stuff when I'm down in their territory about the whole Michigan Ohio State thing, but I
Oh
think we've
yeah.
had them for the past 4 years, so they can't really say much.
Yeah, it's tough. And last year in general, man, I thought it was. Oh yeah, it was. I was not looking forward to the game because I knew it was going to be ugly, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
and there were some times years ago when Urban Meyer was there that I felt like we had a legit chance because Michigan had good teams going
Yep.
into that game and they just got trounced.
Yeah.
And so I thought we got no shot last year, man. And they it was such a great game last year. Like they had a horrible year last year to Michigan
Sure.
standards. Didn't
Yeah.
they made a bowl game, but they didn't go to the playoffs or anything like that, which is what we were
Yep.
hoping. But just that one win, just that one Ohio State win, that was the entire season. That was so awesome.
Oh, especially to know that we didn't have the team that Michigan is used to having. You know,
Right,
we didn't have an offense per se, right? Like,
right,
you know, our quarterback play was definitely not what it should be or what it has been in years past.
right.
So, you know, imagine that. Like, you know, you're supposed to come in, you know, you have a team coming in that you're supposed to just completely manhandle. And then we
Hmm.
go into their home stadium, put up less than like what 100 yards passing and end up winning the
Yeah,
game. So
yeah, winning the game.
it's
Yep.
it's nuts.
And really, even the defense was suspect last year until the last few games of the year, right? The last
Yeah,
3 or 4 games of the year, going to the
yeah,
bowl game, they look like world beaters the last
yeah.
several games of the year. So,
Yeah, I think
um,
what's encouraging is, obviously Michigan's not having the season that we had hoped they would have this year. A lot of
mhm.
lot of key players, a lot of
Young players.
young players, but
Mhm.
hopefully this team can grow together and can be something nice in the future.
Right. I was watching part of Joel Klatt show today
Yeah,
on my planning period, and he was talking about Michigan and how young they are, the youngest team in the Big Ten. He said because they did the game on Saturday, and he
yep,
said that he was looking at the starters, and most of them, the majority on offense and defense, were either redshirt freshmen or true freshmen.
that's crazy.
Like man, we got a great future ahead of us here. So
Yeah, just give them some time. I think
right.
I know that freshman year,
Hmm.
it's tough to get acclimated to from high school to
Oh,
college.
that
So
transition, yeah. Hmm.
that transition
I mean,
period is
for anybody, regardless if you're a college athlete or not. You
sure.
and I we both played college sports and college baseball to be exact. And
Yep,
I tell kids and people all the time, you don't understand how much you have to love the game to play collegiately, right?
it becomes a
Because
job.
becomes a job. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
I tell people all the time, you had 2 days off. That was Christmas Day, Christmas Eve.
yeah,
That was it, right?
yeah,
Otherwise, you're working every day,
yeah.
7 days a week.
And a lot of people don't understand that. Like I know for me, I didn't start like actually working, having a job until
Mhm.
college baseball was done for me, right? So
Yeah,
I,
me
I
too.
started in
Me
the
too.
work field late because people don't understand when you're when you're playing, not only are you playing, but in
Mhm.
the off season, you're still playing games, right? You're still
Right.
going to tournaments. You're going
Yep.
to, hitting lessons, fielding lessons, pitching lessons, whatever it
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
It is a 365-day, job essentially to try
Right.
to make it to possibly the next level, or
Right.
whatever you're trying to be. I know for me, I always wanted to be the best at everything that I do. And
Absolutely. Mhm.
so when I put my mind to it, I was fixated on just baseball, baseball, baseball. What can I do that's going to make me a better baseball player? So
Yeah,
uh,
exactly. And it was a little different time when I played, because when I was in high school, it was you started baseball in March, you ended maybe early June, and that was it.
yep, yep,
And then you jumped into football.
right, yeah, no,
They didn't have all those travel leagues and stuff when I was in high
oh
school,
man,
and so
yeah,
that's why I tell people, I learned that I loved playing baseball when I was in high school.
hmm,
But when you get to college, that's what you said, it becomes a job.
yeah,
You still have that fun, and you have to remind yourself sometimes that I love doing this. I'd rather do this
yeah,
than working 9 to 5 at this point in my life, right?
sure,
And
yeah,
so
no.
that's when you really love and develop that passion for the game. And so,
Yeah, no,
yep,
and I think some people may have the opposite effect where they realize, man, I love this sport, but there's so much pressure, right?
yep,
There's,
yep,
now you got school involved with it. You're
yep,
traveling a lot. Some people could just be like, man, this isn't for me. I just love it. It's taking the fun out of the sport for me.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I mean, I could see both sides of that really, but no,
Mhm,
yeah, no, I mean, I back to my college days, we were even in the winter, we were having 2-a-day practices. I'd wake up
mm,
at our coach would have us practice at 5:30 in the morning. I'd go to class or I'd have practice from 5:30 to 7:30. Class from was it 8 to about 1. Have lunch, and then I'd have practice from 3 to 6, and then study halls, and then so I
mm,
literally had no time for a job at all. It was strictly
right,
school
right,
baseball, but
yeah,
it's one of those things where I miss it.
yep,
I'd do
for
anything to
sure.
go back there.
Yeah, my body broke down at some point and decided to get a hold on me, so I had to hang it up. I was playing. I played until I was in my I want to say like mid 30s. Just,
Okay.
I played college, and then I played city
The
league and
men's
stuff like
leagues and
that,
stuff like
men's
that.
leagues and stuff like
Over
that. And then
over 30 leagues and stuff. Yeah.
over 30, and then I had shoulder surgery from the years of playing. I had what was called sloppy shoulder. My shoulder kept popping out of socket. I would just walk down the hall, so bloop, my shoulder would pop out of socket, and I'd have to pop it
No
back in.
kidding.
What they found was I had a ruptured bicep tendon. I had bone spurs on my collarbone, and
Oh my,
they said it was from the years of playing baseball and
yeah.
that repetitiveness of just
Oh, I believe
um,
it.
doing the
You know,
same
I
motion.
I blame my bad back problems on swinging a bat from the
Yep.
time I was 3 years old up until I was
Yep.
21. So, yeah, no,
Yep.
I hear you
Yep.
there.
Same here. I've had back problems, and then after that was back problems, and so like I said, my body decided to go to pieces on me, so I had to hang it up. But
Yeah.
and then I coached for about 30 years. I was coaching when I was playing college baseball. Obviously, yeah, I
Oh,
was
were you really?
assistant coach. Yeah, I was assistant coach then, and the head coach knew that I was playing college baseball, so he
Yeah.
just said, show up when you can, but once your season is over, then I expect you to jump in full time, and so that's what I did. So when and boy, you talk about trying to manage your time when you were going to
Oh,
school, playing college baseball, coaching on
yeah.
top of it.
Probably
Um,
had no time for nothing, man.
nothing, nothing, nothing. So I always tell people, if you really want to make it work, if you really love something, you can make it work. You just got
Yeah.
to prioritize and figure out, you
Oh,
know,
sure.
what what you want to do, what you want to do with yourself in order to make it work. So,
Yeah. No,
um, so
if you go into it, if you go into wanting to play a college sport and you get there and your mind isn't dead set on playing that sport and being
mhm,
the best you can be,
mhm.
you won't make it. You simply
Right.
will not make it. It will either make or break you.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and so you gotta have that passion before you even get there, because, like you said, if you just think that you're gonna show up day one and put
Yeah.
in minimal effort and be as successful as you were in high school, it's not gonna work out that way.
Oh no, no, because now you're playing with players who were the best at their high school.
the best
right.
at their high
So,
school, best
right,
at their counties, the best in their
right.
states.
Yep.
Yep, yep. So sometimes the best in their country, right?
Right.
So
Yeah. Depending on where they come from, for sure. Yeah.
right, exactly. So well, already we are starting to get low on time. So one of the things that we started in our last couch chat episode was a new series called The Gauntlet. So we're gonna run Brandon through the gauntlet. We actually so what the gauntlet is we put a question out to our Facebook audience, and
Okay.
since we are getting closer to Thanksgiving, the question was, what do you like most about Thanksgiving? And of course, you get, I like eating turkey, I like
Mhm.
leftovers, I like
Yep.
cranberry sauce, I love all the desserts, I love taking the nap after
Yeah. Yeah.
after dinner or watching the Lions play, and
Yep.
so a lot of different answers, but one of the number one answers was I like the mashed potatoes and gravy.
Sure.
And
Yep.
so I'm
Can't
like,
go wrong
yeah,
there.
it's not Thanksgiving without mashed potatoes and gravy, right?
No, no, not at all. No.
So the gauntlet is 5 questions. I have 5 multiple choice questions to kind of just help you guys get to know Brandon a little bit and what he likes about Thanksgiving. And so here we go. Question number one: do you like homemade stuffing or stovetop stuffing?
I may get a lot of heat for this one, but I think stovetop tastes a little bit better, in my opinion. Not only that, I think it's quick and easy, but I will eat the stuffing that's stuffed inside the turkey. But if I have to pick,
Okay.
it's 100% stovetop for me.
Maybe you have to earmuff mom when she's watching this, right?
Right, for real, yeah. No, probably my dad too. He's like, "What?
You're
What are you doing, man?"
what are you talking about? All
Right.
right, I like the homemade. I really like the homemade. I mean, because you can stovetop you can make with anything. You can go out and make cheeseburgers tonight and have stovetop with it if you want. Well, it seems like
Absolutely.
the homemade is like a special, just like turkey. You eat it at Thanksgiving. That's a special time of year for
No,
that particular type of food. And
it
so
is, and that's why I have to have it on Thanksgiving. But if you were to say, "Hey, man, it's not Thanksgiving. I got stovetop. I got homemade," I
I'm
might
gonna
just
take
stick with
stovetop.
the stovetop. Yeah.
It's a lot easier.
Oh
Question
yeah.
number two: do you like white meat or dark meat?
White meat for sure.
Yeah, I am too.
I'll chicken for sure. White meat, turkey.
Mhm.
I'll do both. But I'm always gonna
Mhm.
go white meat first until that's gone, and then if I'm doing leftovers and there's dark meat, then I'll switch over to the dark meat.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. I've always liked the white meat over the dark meat, even though the dark meat seems to be juicier.
It
But that
does,
just with
which
the
is weird. Yeah, I
yeah
don't get it.
with the white meat, you can put some gravy on it. You can put some basting on the inside. You can inject
Which is what I do.
some different sauces.
I'll
Hey,
I'll
but
dip it in my mashed potatoes too, mashed potatoes and gravy, then take a little bite of it. Yeah, no, it all helps.
have you guys ever deep fried your turkeys?
No, but I've been wanting
Oh.
to.
So we used to always oven roast our turkeys, right? And
Yep.
then years ago, actually, I don't remember exactly, but Heather and I were together and we started deep frying it. Oh
Mhm.
my gosh. Like even the white meat is really juicy. I mean, all the juices just stay inside and it's so tasty and it's
You
just so good.
know,
So,
I've really been wanting to try it, and I've really been
mhm,
wanting to do it. I've seen some horror stories,
mhm.
so
Oh
part
yeah.
of me, like,
Yeah,
part of me
yeah,
like, "Oh, man,
yeah.
like, I really
You
don't
get the
wanna
oil
screw
on the
this up."
fire. Oops.
Yeah.
You get well done turkey, that's for sure.
Right. Could you imagine that? Man, my family would be so upset with me. Having
And
everybody for Thanksgiving and it's just nothing but burnt to a crisp.
and we typically we'll do like 3 birds. We'll do one in the oven, one in the air fryer, and then we do one in the actual deep fryer. So we actually have three
Okay.
different birds, and then we eat leftovers forever. It seems like. Which
Yeah.
brings me to the next question: do you like turkey sandwiches or taco turkey Tuesday or turkey taco
Um,
Tuesday?
I don't think I've ever had turkey taco Tuesday, but I do the sandwiches. Yeah, we it's something that we do quite often. Uh,
Sandwiches are awesome, but one of the things that we do here in our family is we take the meat and we shred it up and then we throw it in a frying pan with the taco seasoning on it, and
yep.
then we make them into tacos that Tuesday after, just because Taco Tuesday, and then we're like,
And
oh, how about taco
I've
turkey
I've
taco
never even
Tuesday?
heard of that. I'll have to give that a try this upcoming Thanksgiving, let
Yeah,
you know when that works for me. But Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I usually I'm just gonna take the leftover turkey, throw it in the sandwich, and eat that for the next 3 or 4 days until it's gone.
It's awesome. Yeah, the tacos are really, really awesome. Very good. Do you like pumpkin pie or apple pie?
Oh, I'm an apple pie for sure. I
Apple
don't do
pie.
anything pumpkin flavored. I'm not sure why. I just don't like the
Mm.
pumpkin flavor anything. But no, that's why I got to be first in line for the pies because I got it's either apple pie or nothing for me.
Because apple pie always goes first, it seems like.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, no, especially with my family.
Yeah, yeah, mine too, actually. So I really like apple pie as well, but again, if apple pie isn't there, I'll go right to the pumpkin pie as opposed to like the cherry pie or some of the other ones. I like, and honestly, we have pumpkin pie. It seems like all the time around Thanksgiving and Christmas, and so
Yeah,
sometimes I'll eat that for breakfast. I'll take a slice out and just eat it for breakfast.
that's funny. That's funny.
Coffee and pumpkin pie.
What a
Last.
what a combination, man.
It's almost like the pumpkin spice latte at Big
No,
V's, right?
I was just thinking that. Yeah, I was just thinking.
All right, last question. Christmas tree up before Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving?
Oh man, this is a family tradition for me and my family.
Uh-huh.
It's always after Thanksgiving for me, and I think that's because we focus on Thanksgiving first, and then we always had this tradition where as soon as Thanksgiving was over with, that next, well, obviously that Thanksgiving is usually on a Thursday,
Uh-huh.
but we'll go that Saturday or Sunday to go get our Christmas tree, and we kind of did that as a family. So as if we didn't see each other enough on Thursday, you know, we would go Saturday and Sunday to go get a Christmas tree. So after Thanksgiving.
Exactly. We have some Christmas lights up on the porch already, so Heather was
Oh,
trying
you're
to get
already
me to
there.
put
Wow. Holy cow.
yeah, Heather was trying to get me to put the tree up already, and so we
Neat.
were cleaning last week, and she's like, "Hey, what if we?" So she wanted to start arranging some of the things to put the tree up. I'm like, let's get through Halloween real quick,
Halloween
and then
first.
we'll
Yeah.
yeah, Halloween first.
Yeah, I'm the type of
So
person that wants to focus on the whatever holiday is coming first and then worry
yeah,
about the next one after.
yeah, I just like that Christmas feel, the Thanksgiving Christmas, just because it's just such a happy, such a joyous time of year, and it's just
It
I
is.
like that. Yeah, there are times in my classroom right now where if I need a pick me up, I'll put Christmas music on.
Oh
So
man,
yeah.
God, I'm glad I'm not in your classroom, Todd. I can't do no Christmas music before Christmas time.
All right, Brandon has made it through the gauntlet, everybody. Woo! Nice job, Brandon. Thank you so much. That's all the time that we have for Couch Chats. Thank you, Brandon, for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for
Awesome
having me.
time. We could sit here and probably keep going forever if we wanted
Yeah,
to, but we do have to
yep.
we do have to let our audience have some time, right?
No, absolutely. Yes, sir.
So thank you, Brandon. Thanks for joining us. Thank you guys for watching us. Check us out next time. Stay obsessed.